Good morning, you guys. Welcome back. This is a video to talk about what to wear when the weather is doing this. I went out and I fished all last year in this kayak, and I went into some pretty crazy conditions. I dealt with all sorts of rain and wind and ice and snow, and those of you guys who've been watching my videos, you know, you've seen it. And I'm setting out to do it again, and I feel like it's finally time that I make a video to discuss what is the best things to wear if you're actually going to keep fishing out of a kayak. In the Pacific Northwest, I get to deal with this. Lots of rain. Rains all the time. Let's go ahead and get started with talking about the dry suit. Everything revolves around a dry suit. And for the most part, you want to use what everyone refers to as the 120 rule. The 120 rule is if you take the temperature of the air and the temperature of the water and you add those together, if it's under 120, you should be in a dry suit. If it's over 120, you should be okay. For me, it's the water temperature is what I'm a bit more concerned about. If you are like really far off away from people, you know, if you're out in some secluded lake, then you want to be, you know, also extremely aware of air temperature as well. If you're not going to be able to get to your car, get to the shore quickly, then you really do want to focus on the 120 rule very strictly, and maybe even play it safe, you know, add a few degrees on there. But for myself, it's really water temperature. I'm really concerned about water temperature. And as soon as it gets under 60 degrees, I have my dry suit on. So from this point forward, I'll be wearing my dry suit for the next few months, all the way through until spring when the water finally warms back up. Today, the water temp is probably about 53 degrees. It's not super cold. Like I've swam in water this cold before, but the thing is I'm not necessarily like, just because I can swim doesn't mean I don't wear a life jacket. Just because I can handle swimming in water at this temperature doesn't mean I shouldn't have a dry suit on. You wear a life jacket for the time when you can't swim. You don't know why that might be, but that's why you wear a life jacket. And you wear a dry suit for the time that you might end up in the water for a period of time that you don't know how long. You know, if I flip my kayak in the center of the lake for some reason, which I haven't done yet, I've been doing this for a very long time, but never flipped my kayak yet. This thing's unsinkable. I shouldn't say that, but I've never flipped. I know it's going to happen at some point, and if it does happen, I do want to have a dry suit on. The dry suit that you choose, that's a tough one. They're expensive. They're super expensive. This dry suit is like the nicest dry suit I could possibly find. This is the Kokatat Odyssey. It comes with a hood. And the reason I did this, I purchased this, it's a $1,700 dry suit. I got this because this is like a job for me. I'm out here all the time, whether it's like safe or not safe to be out here. I come out here oftentimes, sometimes when I shouldn't. I love doing it though. It's a lot of fun. I love the challenge of being out in weather, whether it's like cold or rainy or windy or whatever it is. It's fun. It's super fun to me. Some people, then you don't get it, but that's okay. This video is really for you guys who are like, I don't know, maybe you're watching my videos, or maybe you've come into this conclusion that you don't want to stop bass fishing just because it's getting cold and wet and rainy out. But yeah, so the Kokatat Odyssey dry suit. Dry suits, I have these gaskets on my neck and my wrists, and those are the only spots where water could get in or out, and it doesn't. I've jumped in the lake before with the dry suit, stayed totally dry. A dry suit incorporates a zipper that goes all the way from here up to here. That's how you get in and out. There's also a relief zipper right here, so that's how, you know, you get in or out. And those zippers are waterproof. They're really crazy zippers. They're super waterproof. The dry suit has built-in socks. The whole thing is just like, it's just a big jumpsuit. As soon as you're in and you're zipped in, you're sealed in, and you stay totally dry. It doesn't keep you warm. I dress for warmth underneath, and that's kind of the next part we should talk about. Actually, no. Before we talk about what we wear underneath, we need to talk about shoes and kind of general temperatures. As soon as it starts to get under the mid-40s, it gets really cold out when you're sitting in a kayak. It gets really difficult to keep your hands warm, and it gets really difficult to keep your feet warm. And the only thing that I found when it comes to staying warm for my feet is these. These are the NRS Boundary Boots. I wear a size 11. This NRS Boundary Boot is a size 12. I got a size 12 because I need room for the dry suit to fit under there, and I need room for when it gets really cold, the merino wool socks. I got them because my feet were cold. Every single time I came out here, my feet were getting cold. When it was like low 40s, high 30s, my feet would get so cold. It was the first thing that made it so I just couldn't be out here. If you want to be warm, NRS Boundary Boots, one size up, merino wool socks underneath, and then your feet will be fine. I have had no temperatures in which I couldn't handle at that point. If it gets any colder, the lakes will be completely frozen and you won't be able to be out in the kayak anyways, so it won't matter. So I've been down in the coldest temperatures you could basically be if you're going to be out kayak bass fishing on a lake, and that's what kept my feet warm, without a question. So next thing is hands. This is a tricky one because I've bought 20 different pairs of gloves at this point. The pair that I was wearing today, these suck. These are NRS gloves. I don't even know what they're called. I'll have links to literally everything I'm saying down in the description if you want to check these out. These gloves are they lose a lot of dexterity, but they are 100% waterproof and they keep your hands warm. In the winter when it was like snowing, this is what I had to wear. It sucked, but they kept my hands dry and warm. Once you put them on, you better hope everything's tied on, because you're not going to be tying anything with these. Fishing with them is doable. It's not great, but it's better than not having them. They're kind of my extreme weather gloves. I was wearing them today because it was raining so hard, and they're the only gloves that I have because I lost my other one. Another option is there's a few like the Aftco breakwater gloves, I think they're called. That's like another top recommended glove. A lot of people have some issues with them, but it's another thing that kind of reminds me of the NRS Boundary Boots. They're the best thing on the market. They're not perfect. They're not perfect. They have their issues, but they're like the best thing on the market right now. That is something that I hope to have at some point, but I did just try ordering a cheaper pair that Cast King makes. I'll have those, do a future video on those. I'll talk about them in a future video, but yeah, these work fine. When it comes down to being cold and rain, you kind of just have to have something that's waterproof. These gloves have a very, very tight seal right here, and I basically wear them all the way up to here, and then like water needs to go all the way in and then up, and it's just kind of impossible for water to get all the way in at that point. So that's a good way to keep your hands dry and warm. As I said though, you lose a lot of dexterity. There's no perfect glove when it comes to fishing in these kind of weather. If it's not going to be raining or snowy, then your options are a little bit more open. Oftentimes if you can find a pair of warm gloves that have the option to be fingerless, that's good. Just try to avoid your gloves getting wet if they're not waterproof. That's kind of your best bet, but I'll put some links down to my favorite gloves that I've been using. Next, what do you wear underneath a dry suit? A dry suit is just a thin like layer of Gore-Tex. There's nothing insulating to keep me warm, so you need to dress for warmth underneath. I wear, try to avoid cotton. If you can take any cotton and just not wear that, you'll be happy, because you're gonna get warm. You're gonna get sweaty. You're gonna stink up your dry suit if you go wearing a bunch of cotton. What you're gonna want is some really nice thermals, like really nice thermals, and then I think in the winter, I think I did thermals, I think I did a long sleeve, and then I did a jacket. And then for the legs, you had your thermals, you had your pants, and then your dry suit. When it gets super, super cold, there's been times when I wore a beanie instead of a hat. I think I did that when it snowed. That made a huge difference. If your head gets cold, you get cold really fast. Keeping your hands, your feet, and your head warm, those are the first things that really kind of fail. I've worn a face mask a time or two when it was super, super cold. The reason I think a beanie or a face mask, something that you can wear that kind of, basically it comes down to covering your ears at that point. If you've ever had cold ears before, that's painful. When it comes to temp ranges, in mid 40s, like today, I'm wearing some snowboarding socks, just some pants, no thermals. I'm wearing just a regular t-shirt, cotton, and a jacket, and I'm good. My hands are a little bit cold. That's because I've been outside of the gloves for a bit. I don't know. You bounce back and forth with gloves. All right, I think that pretty much covers it. As I said, I'll have links to everything that I mentioned down below. I think you can get by without buying the $1,700 dry suit. There are cheaper ones out there for sure. I'm a big fan of Kokatat. They're well regarded as being one of the best. They got a lot of high reviews. Oh yeah, I guess I am 5'10.5". That is my height. I weigh 180 pounds on average. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. I have a size large for the Kokatat Odyssey dry suit. I would not want one bigger, and I would not want one smaller. You always want to. Picking out the size is tricky. If you can go try some on in person, remembering that you want to size accordingly for having a bunch of stuff on underneath, you know, wearing thermals and jackets, like wearing a long sleeve and a jacket. You gotta leave room in the merino wool socks. Everything kind of has to be sized up a bit. The NRS Boundary Boots, I will say, I got a size 12. I'm normally a size 11. I wear these all through like spring and all through fall, even when or early fall and late spring. As soon as like it's time to lose the dry suit, I'm still wearing them. I even wore them in summertime sometimes. Like, they're a little warm for sure, but just being able to get in and out of your kayak without getting your feet wet is the best. Huge fan of that. But I think that's gonna call it. I think I've said enough information for you guys. I hope that helps. And if you do decide to keep coming out bass fishing like I'm doing, I hope that you are safe about it. If you do make some of these purchases and they work out for you, I'd love to hear back from you guys and get some feedback. If it doesn't work also, I'd love to hear your feedback too, because I don't know, at some point I think I want to make a little bit more of a legit video covering all this stuff. So all right, thanks so much for watching, guys. See you on the next one.